Every day Bermudians speak to me about the hardships they are facing. Construction workers who've lost their jobs, small business owners who have shut down, seeing less customers or fear that their businesses may not make it, retail workers who worry about potential layoffs, landlords who do not have a rental income to make their mortgage payments. The crisis Bermuda faces today reaches into almost every home in this country. People can't pay their bills, and the unemployed don't know where to turn. The pain they are feeling every day is real. Bermuda is in an economic and social crisis of unprecedented times and scale. The fact that we have more than 10,000 Bermudians unemployed or underemployed is astounding. Never before in our history, and it tells us that something has gone very, very wrong. Whether you want more of the same is the question. But let me say this first, Bermuda. It is very fortunate that this election should be held now, because you finally can have a say about the direction your country is headed in. And whether you want more of the same with our current government, or whether you want change that the One Bermuda Alliance is looking to implement for this country. This afternoon, my colleagues and I are introducing our Jobs and Economic Turnaround Plan. And let me say this, that a job is the best social program that I know. This is our answers to all the individuals and families who are hurting. And what we are saying is that there is hope with change. My colleague Bob Richards and his economic team have been working for months now on this plan. Their work is based on literally thousands of conversations and interviews over the past year. It is a comprehensive plan. It is comprehensive in scope, touching all and on all aspects of life that affects people's ability to live productive lives, with the specific measures to grow jobs, number one, control government spending, reduce government debt, and create ladders of opportunity through investments in education and skills and training, to strengthen government services and reduce the cost of living in Bermuda. This is the way out of this crisis. This is the path we can follow to better days ahead. This is the essential first step in building a Bermuda based on that social and economic equity for all, leaving no one behind. This is why the OBA exists, to bring the change Bermuda needs.
The OBA Jobs and Economic Turnaround Plan will generate 2,000 new jobs within 5 years. It is clear from Bermuda's poor performance relative to our competitors and our trading partners that a significant proportion of our recession has been the result of poor government policy and slow and inept execution. But the silver lining to this cloud is that the economy can be turned around and new jobs can be created by sensible policy shifts as opposed to more major government spending programs. The OBA Jobs and Economic Turnaround Plan will build on exactly that. Sensible, practical policy shifts that will kickstart our economy. In addition, to create jobs distributed across all sectors, there must be some capital spending. The OBA approach is not for government to make these investments, as it is already almost tapped out. Our approach is to induce private sector investment. The influx of such capital will stimulate construction, hospitality, and service jobs across the island. Now, broadly speaking, we will pursue a two-track strategy. A, to execute pro-growth policies. B, control wasteful government spending. The OBA Jobs and Economic Turnaround Plan consists of 6 targeted objectives. 1. to grow the economy to create good paying jobs. 2. Control government spending. 3. Reduce debt. 4. Create ladders of opportunity through education and skills training. 5. Strengthen critical government services. And 6. Reduce the cost of living. Now you may ask, where will these jobs come from? And how did you arrive at the 2,000 job target? We analyzed government employment and workforce data going back over 2 decades to look at the demonstrated potential for overall job creation of Bermuda and job creation sector by sector. And we analyzed this under various macroeconomic conditions. We also analyzed data from the Bermuda First Report, which showed how jobs that are created in international business and financial services have a multiplier effect on jobs in other non-financial sectors. A journalist recently asked me when I thought Bermuda would emerge from recession. The answer was, in Bermuda's case, the when is not measured by time, but instead, the when is measured by action milestones. In other words, the recession will end after we, Bermuda, take certain actions. Only then will the recession end. It will not end by itself. These actions are listed in our jobs and economic turnaround plan. Here are some of the highlights. Firstly, let me say, only employers can create new jobs. So in relation to that, we will reduce the cost of job creation. We will give a 2-year payroll tax exemption for new Bermudian hiring. To support small business, 20% of government spending, or about $80 million per year, will be directed to small business. Our international business customers need to feel welcomed and valued. To this end, we will establish an international business concierge service for new business formations in Bermuda. We will fast-track work permits for high-level staff. We will suspend job-killing term limits for 2 years. We will leverage Bermuda-based risk expertise by the establishment of a Bermuda Risk Institute. We will aggressively market Bermuda to the world as a high-quality financial center. Now, there is very little capital in Bermuda for major infrastructure investment. Therefore, we will work with the Corporation of Hamilton and the Corporation of St. George's to secure direct overseas investment for the redevelopment of the Hamilton and St. George's waterfronts. We will implement a tourism authority forthwith to put tourism development and promotion in the hands of professionals who will be accountable for their performance. We will take steps to secure direct overseas investment in hotels in Bermuda. Now you may ask, why would we be successful when efforts of this government have failed? The answer is, an OBA government will be a transparent, dependable partner to investors, a government that understands and will be responsive to investors' needs. And we will create a regulatory and business environment in Bermuda that will make these capital investments compelling value propositions to potential investors. That's the only way to make these investments happen. Now the second track. The second track is controlling government spending. We will freeze the size of the civil service, but there will be no layoffs of civil servants. We will convene a Spending and Government Efficiency Commission, a SAGE commission, to look at government inefficiencies and waste. We will cause a contractor general to be appointed. We will insist on strict accountability in the civil service, particularly as it relates to budgets. We will cut down on the use of consultants. We will reduce the number of GP cars using a carpool instead. And we will reduce ministers' pay by 10%. The next major objective is to reduce debt. The problem with the debt is the debt service costs, which equal about $115 million per year, greater than all government departments except healthcare and education. If debt is not brought to heel, debt service will overwhelm government expenses, hobbling it from carrying out its responsibilities for police, education, healthcare, and social support of families. When we are successful in producing economic growth, government revenues will rise. And along with the controlling of government spending, we will ultimately eliminate operating deficits. These milestones must precede any reduction in debt. We will also appoint a public debt advisory board to help the Minister of Finance in debt and risk management. The next objective is ladders of opportunity in investing in education and skills training. In the intermediate term and in the long term, there is no point in growing the economy and creating job opportunities for Bermudians if our people do not have the education, skills, and training to fill those jobs. Education reform is therefore a crucial component in our plan for putting Bermudians back to work. The highlights of this objective are implementation of a fully integrated modern technical curriculum beginning at the middle school level through to the Bermuda College level. Expanding preschools to make early education more accessible to all. Create a modern version of the National Training Board as a Bermuda Technical Education and Workforce Development Agency in conjunction with employers. The next objective of the 6 is to strengthen critical government services. Government exists to fulfill the needs of society that cannot be provided by the private sector. These needs are necessary even in the best of times, but in these difficult economic times, they are crucial. The fabric of our society and communities can unravel during these stressful times, but an OBA government will not let that happen. The economy cannot turn around with the social fabric in tatters. Some of the highlights of actions we will take in this regard are: we will immediately set up Operation Ceasefire to combat gang violence. We will ensure that future care is financially sustainable. We will crack down on employers who abuse immigration rules to protect Bermudian jobs. We will introduce a banking and financial services ombudsman to assist families with mortgage issues. We will ensure that families who are struggling financially get the child care, financial, and housing assistance they need. The last point in the 6 objectives is to reduce the cost of living. We all know that Bermuda is a very expensive place in which to live. We will reduce the cost of electricity through proper regulation of the energy sector. We will promote cogeneration plants, combined heat and power generation plants to reduce electrical costs for major users like hotels and hospitals. We will reduce healthcare costs through tighter financial control of our hospitals. And lastly, we will waive stamp duties for first-time homeowners valued under $1 million.